So now I'm going to do part 1 of this project. So what we're going to do is I have an 11 by 14 inch canvas. I'm doing it the long ways. Obviously, if you want, you can flip it, but I'm going to do it this way. I tend to like the landscape setup. And then I've got my 3 colors of yarn that I'm going to kind of mix and use. These are gloss. I've got a Bahama blue, a beachcomber beige, and a regular white. These were all bought at Walmart, so they're not too expensive. You could do a matte finish if you want. And then I've got my little art tray. I don't even know where I got these, probably at Walmart. And then I got 3 different paintbrushes. I got the big ones because I want to be able to cover a lot of space at once, but obviously if you have smaller ones, this will work too. And then of course we got our yarn that we're going to be attaching later. I picked this one because I'm trying to use up some of the yarn that I have that isn't enough to really make a full-on project. So I like this one because I'm hoping it shows up on camera right. It's got some of those blues, it's got some of that beige in there. So I thought it'd be really cool to kind of use this one to do the design because again, I'm trying to use up yarn. So the first thing we gotta do is we gotta paint this canvas, and then you're gonna need to let it obviously dry. Now you're gonna also wanna paint the edges, like you're gonna wanna paint these too, but I'm gonna paint the top first for you guys, and then I'm gonna do the edges off camera and let that all dry before we move on to the next. You're also gonna wanna make sure you have some sort of glue. This is tacky glue, it's like a craft glue that I picked up, I believe at Walmart or online on Amazon, but you can find any kind of craft glue. This dries clear, and it also says it's a premium all-purpose adhesive, and it says it's ultra strong, dries clear, and it's non-toxic. So if you have something like this, I would go ahead and try to find this kind of glue. And like what I like about this one is it's got like that fine point on it. Okay, so this should work. All right, and what we're gonna do first is we obviously need to paint the canvas. And this could take a little while. I am no Bob Ross, but I like painting when it's kind of relaxing. So, and I don't mind mixing colors. I know some people like to just stick with primary, so I'm just gonna put a little of each of these colors in my little thingy over here. Hopefully hopefully it cooperates. I will definitely be using probably a lot of paint on this size of board. And I'm just gonna speed up the process when I paint. So you'll be seeing this sped up because obviously, oh, this one's not open. I thought this one was open. I know I had a white open, but this one's gonna fight me now. Okay. And that's all I'm doing is I'm just off to the side putting the colors I want. I'm gonna leave a little empty space. Normally I put one. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna paint my canvas. I'm gonna use the biggest brush I have, and I wanna start with the blue because that's the color I was really most excited about. And that's all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna slather it on, get my canvas painted. So this is all we're gonna do. And I'm gonna add the other colors in, but I wanna just get a quick coat of this blue on in some places. And I'm going to do the edges, like I said, off camera, so I'm not too worried about it, but I'm going to do my best to get as much of the edges as I'm painting. Like when I go along, I'm going to like try to go to the side as much as I can too, but I'll touch those up off camera. What I like about this paint too is it does tend to dry quick, which is nice, but if you're going to mix colors, it may not. But I'm just trying to get my blue on there because I like my blue. So I'm not worrying about getting the edges perfectly right now. I'm just starting to get the edges. And that's all I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly paint, mix my colors in. So here we go. You may have to do more than one coat, so keep that in mind. But all I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to get a baseline of the blue on before I start mixing the other colors. And I don't care that the brush strokes aren't even. That's not what this is about. This is just a fun, quick project. If you are a really good painter, then you will probably have a lot of fun with this because you can do a different design or whatever than we're doing. Like I said, I'm going to worry about my edges later, but I can do this one side because I can see it better. Right now, I'm going to do all my edges off camera afterwards, but I just was like, here we go, just slathering it on. Thinning it out a little bit, and then I'm going to add the other colors to kind of mix in. Very quick process, like I said, I'm going to do the size later, and I'm not going to care if the edges are multicolored or not. I just want them covered so when this is hanging up, so again I will go back through and do that. But once you get some blue on it that you want, I'm going to switch over to my beige color and grab a little bit this time and just kind of swirl it in there and kind of mix it in there. Just kind of like giving it more coat. And you may have to let it dry and then do another coat. So I added a little bit of that. I'm going to switch my paintbrushes. I'm going to grab a little bit of white and kind of touch up some white here too. Just again, adding in some colors because I want there to be multicolors and kind of muted. And again, this is glossy, so it'll shine. So I'm just kind of mixing in just a little bit of white here and there. Nothing fancy. Like I said, this is a great project. If you have like letters or other things that you could glue onto this would be a perfect project for that. I couldn't find my letters, and then I was like, well, I really don't know what word I'd want on here. I just want this to kind of be, all right. Now remember, you're also going to be putting yarn on, so not all of it necessarily has to be covered. But because I don't know exactly what design I'm doing at this precise moment you're watching this, because you've seen the finished result, I have it. I'm working on it right now. So I'm just adding in some white. And that's all I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep coming back, let it dry a little bit, see where I need to add more, and just kind of touch it up in spots. And again, do my edges in the blue, because I do like the blue. And that's all I'm going to do is I'm just kind of going around, adding in the color. When it dries, I'll go back into the spots that kind of need another layer, but I'm not too worried about it. It's just more or less to have some fun and just like a soft kind of painting. So that's all we're going to do. Oop, I'm sorry for bumping the camera. I'm actually standing to paint right now, guys, because of the way I had to set up the camera to film. I'm actually standing, so if I was sitting at my easel, because I guess I have a portable easel, I'd be able to do a little better, but at the same time, I didn't want to rigmarole with the thing. So I'm also going to try to do my edges a little bit if I can, at least around the sides I can see. I need a little more blue, because I want my edges to be like the solid blue color if I can, as much as I can. I can touch them up later. So I'm just adding a little blue. Trying to make sure I get the right one. And I'm going to go over on this side that you guys can't tell I'm moving. And I'm going to try to get over here. Like I said, if I can get the edges done now would be great. And that's why I was sitting down is pretty good, because then you can just kind of easily manipulate it. And since I put too much there, I'll just thin that out. And again, I'm going to be covering some of this with yarn, but because I don't know what I'm going to cover, then I do want to take the time to kind of cover the whole thing. Because can I reach my paint over there? There we go. Alright, so I'm just kind of touching this up. I can touch up the sides afterwards. The yarn is actually going to go along the edge too. But again, we're just trying to cover it as much as we can. And we can always touch it up later. It's just more or less getting that first coat on and going from there. So that's all I'm doing, is I'm just going around. If I'm out of breath, it's because it's been a long day. And I'm just kind of fixing spots because I don't know whereabouts I'm putting the yarn. And I'm just going to let this air dry. And then decide if it needs another coat of any kind of color before we get into the project. But I really kind of like just the mutedness I kind of did of the swirls and that. But now go ahead, after you do your first coat, kind of let it dry for a little bit, or keep adding if you want. Because when this dries, I'll notice some spots that probably need more. But if I put it on right now, it's just going to scrape it away. So I'm giving it a couple seconds to kind of dry. And then if need be, I'll come back in and touch up some spots. So when you see me again, we'll be ready to add on the yarn. Okay, this next part is a little trickier to do on camera because I have a ring light here for lighting, and I'm also having the camera on the tripod right in front of me, and I have to stand to do this in order to give you guys the right angle. So I'm keeping this part, as you could tell from the finished product and beginning, very simple because I need to be able to work this easier to show you guys on it. But you guys can easily take this idea, obviously change out the colors if you want to do like seasonal ones or themed ones for holidays, and then you can change out obviously the way you lay your string down. I'm keeping mine pretty straight lines, and I'm just going to end up cutting strips and working my way up this. I want to do a group of like lines, so I want to do so many lines, and then I want to skip probably, so I'm going to be kind of playing around with how I do it. But I also got a pair of scissors because it's going to be easier if you cut the length of yarn you want to use. You can choose to glue down the sides afterwards and just lay it, because you're going to lay down glue and then you're going to want to hold it there however tight you want the yarn to be. I'm going to hold it pretty tight, and I'm going to wait for it to dry before I put the next piece. So it's going to be a little time consuming, but the finished result, as you can tell, was definitely worth it. So I'm keeping this simple. I'm doing straight lines to make it easier on myself for filming and just showing you guys, but I definitely would love to play around with this idea on my own, where I can get more creative on how the yarn is laid out, because I won't be filming, because it's a little hard to maneuver my hands because I am standing behind the tripod and standing, because it's the only way to really get this angle to work, and me to make sure that you guys can see, I can see that everything's in the shot. So I'm just going to cut out some strips of this to make it easier, and then I'm going to lay down my glue, which again is this tacky glue. Like I said before, my cousin, who has a YouTube channel called Generically Yours, I'll try to link it down below, she would probably go all out and have a wonderful project for this and really creative, because she, when it comes to some craft, She is a little better than me. We both have our skills, but I would say this, I love this idea, and I'm really hoping that you can take this idea and go with it. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of future videos. And give this video a thumbs up if you think you're going to tackle this project too. And make sure you go to the Facebook page, which again is listed down below for Simply Intertwined, and show me your finished results. I'd love to see them. So let's get on with this tedious project. I will end up showing how to glue one down, and then I'm going to have to go off camera and do the rest because it's going to be a time-consuming process a little bit, and then again we'll come back on when it's all finished. But that's all I'm doing, is I'm deciding where I want to put the yarn and working my design. I'm using my glue. I'm going to lay down a good layer of glue. Try to keep your hands off it as much as you can. So really that's why I want to do straight lines, because then I can hold it off to the side and I won't have to worry about my fingers being in the glue right away until it starts to dry. Then I can kind of pat it down. But again, it's all going to be how creative you want to be. So I'm going to cut my strip. I'm measuring how long the board is. I'm giving myself a little extra because afterwards I will glue whatever's hanging off the edge down. So I'm just going to measure and be like, I want to give myself enough, 12 whatever inches. I mean, this is an 11 by 14. I think I got the 14-inch side facing me. So I'm going to lay down some glue and I'm just going to put a strip of yarn. And I'm going to work that process in a design. And you'll be able to easily see I'm going to keep it all straight lines. Give your glue a little shake if it needs to be shaken. All I'm going to do is lay down some of my glue as best I can in a straight line. I am not a straight line person. As much as I can get. And again, this will dry clear. That's what I do like about this glue, is it will dry clear. It's just the tube is a little hard to squeeze. But I'm doing my line across. Definitely you can tell that I'm going to need more in some areas. But doing my line across, doing a little bit on the edge. Make sure there's enough on the edge. And then I'm just going back through and make sure I fill in spots, because you want to make sure there's enough that will keep the glue down. I'm going to use both hands. Come on, glue. Let's just hope I have enough of this glue. I think I have one more of something else. So once we get it laid down, I'm going to cap this off. And then I'm just going to take my string, because this is where I want it to be, and I'm just going to hold it taut, and I'm just going to kind of move it around the glue, and I'm just going to set it there. And I'm probably going to have to hold it for a while so that the glue kind of sets up. And that's kind of what the process is. Again, the glue will dry clear, so even though there's like bumps and stuff, it's going to be hard. But I'm going to hold it down for a couple seconds, as you can see, just to give it a little time to kind of adhere to the yarn and to the project. And then I'm going to gently kind of poke at it to lay it down on there. So once I got that done, I can kind of go like this and poke it down, wipe off the glue off my fingers, grab another strip, because that's going to kind of set in place. Grab my next one, and because I have some extra glue, oops, try not to get the scissors in the glue. Okay, I'm going to take some more glue, and right next to that one, I'm going to add a little extra glue in the spots where I don't think the glue is enough for the next row to go. Definitely want to get my other glue. This one's a little harder to squeeze. So, okay, so I'm just going to work my way, putting a little extra glue in some spots. Okay, and I'm going to take my next one and do the same thing, bring it down right as close to the other one as I want. Again, you're going to change this out, holding it tight, and just holding it for a couple of seconds, even holding the other one with it if I want, and just kind of hold them down, and then gently kind of pat down in spots. And it's going to dry clear, so we're going to work our way over. So I'm going to continue with my design as you saw in the beginning. And I hope you guys like this, and we'll come back and I'll show you it all finished and doing the last little minor things you need to do. But I need to be able to sit down and work on this rest of this project and stuff. But again, I think this is a great idea. I saw it on TikTok. I thought it'd be fun. I definitely would love to, like I said, to see what you guys do. So I'll come back when this is all designed and show you guys the finished results, and we'll go from there. Just a little tip, if you've got a pen cap or any, especially like a cap that's like flat, or anything else that you have that has a flat side that you can hang on to, instead of using your fingers like I was doing, I actually found out this works a lot easier just to kind of go over top of it to set it a little bit, and then you'll be able to kind of see where it's sticking. Like I got some on the ends that I have to fix. But yeah, something like this will help you just kind of like pat it down without having to get glue on your fingers. Here's the finished product. I end up changing out what button. I end up adding buttons, and what you can't tell is there's a thin strip of like suede material, which is this that I've used when I made jewelry before. I believe I got this on Amazon, but I used this, and I also had this because it was like a tan color. Or it's not really tan, more dark. And then I had this like navy blue color. So if I can zoom in here without messing up here, you can see that I decided to add in, with my child's help, we decided to add a strip of the suede of brown on each side of this part, and a strip of the blue here, and then a strip of the blue to kind of accent it off a little bit, which I think came out really good. I like this because it's a simple project. It was time consuming waiting for the different strips to dry, but definitely make sure you have a glue that is clear drying glue. This did become a little hard to like actually squeeze to get some of the glue out, so if you do have trouble with your hands, you may want to find an easier bottle that's a clear glue. And I thought this was funny. I actually have a lot of scrap pieces there from when I was cutting it, and I had to use vitamin bottles and stuff because once I glued this button down, I weighted the buttons down with either the glue thing or my vitamins just to make sure it would fit, would glue properly onto the canvas. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the results. Again, this was an 11 by 14 frame. The only trouble is getting the size. As you can see, I tried to glue the sides down. I just got to do some touch-up paint there if I want. And then this one over here was stubborn, so I'm going to try one more time to get this one laid down. I think I cut it a little too short, but that's all I did around. Is I'm just going to touch up any areas here, and then when you do the sides, you just kind of use your scissors. I let them hang over, and then I just kind of cut against there. But all in all, like I said, I'm pretty happy, and I like, let me back up here, that I can position this in different ways. Like if I want this way, I mean, my child and I, we liked it this way, but I like that this side, you can really rotate it around to whichever way you like it more. But we ended up liking it, doing a little different by doing it this way. And sure, I could have added more yarn, I could have added other objects onto it, but I want to just give you guys an idea of how you can take this, and I definitely would love to see if you tackle this type of art project, for you to go onto my Facebook page and show me your finished results. Again, make sure you click the link below to go to the Simply Intertwined Facebook page. I do not accept friend requests on my personal Facebook page, so I just want to let you guys know. Really make sure you check the links down below. All the links to all my social media accounts are on there, to my website is on there where you can find free patterns and more. So again, this was just an idea to give you guys of how to use up some scrap yarn you have. Maybe you have some buttons lying around or other embellishments that you could add, and again, just something that can be relaxing. It is a little time consuming. If it does not look like it should take that long, but between the painting, waiting for the paint to dry, doing my gluing of my strips on there, I was kind of waiting a little bit. I let each one set a little bit before I put the next row of yarn, and when I did this, it's not one continuous yarn. The first two that I did around the button, and then I continued on. But then I just stayed on this side for a while, cutting smaller strips, and then I did a couple longer ones to go around the whole thing again. Let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can see that a little better. So see if you can see, I kind of went in, and I kind of went around with a couple of them, but then the other ones are just strips. But I really like the way this came out. I really like that the buttons in the corner kind of thing are different. I like that I didn't add one here. But I would, again, love to see what you guys do with this product. This project idea. And again, hit the like button if you plan on doing one of these, and don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of future videos. My cat just came in. Give him about 2 seconds, you'll probably hear him meow. You gotta go away, I'm filming here. So he's being nosy, but again, I'm trying not to make sure my cat doesn't knock over the tripod. But I really like this product idea. I can see myself doing more of these. Again, like I mentioned, add different kind of embellishments. Maybe you've got wooden letters you can paint, and you could put people's names or family names. You could put words that mean something to you, like hope or dream. You could really have fun with it and use up some of the yarn you have lying around. Have a great day, everyone.